Hello, my name is Billy, and I help Ashley and Scott with their insurance program. My company's Outsourced Risk Managers. We're a full-service commercial insurance brokerage, and we focus on safety, risk management, and all things insurance. So, I've been asked today to give you guys a little bit of information when it comes to both insurance and safety, or along the lines of risk management, what you can do to have a safer work environment and to protect not only your people, but your company, and also help serve your customers. So, what I would like to do is start with three very basic, very easy topics on insurance. Furthermore, at the end of the video, we'll get into a little bit more advanced items, and we'll talk about some safety, some risk management strategies as well. And I do invite you to feel free to either get with Ashley or contact our company directly if you want some one-on-one help. We will provide that as a service to you at no cost for a free consultation to talk about you and your company, employees, and customers' needs specifically tailored to you. So let's begin. 1, 2, 3 types of insurance policies we're going to talk about: general liability, workers' comp, commercial auto. We'll start with general liability. You may have this policy. You may have heard of it, also known as commercial general liability, GL, CGL, a couple of different names or abbreviations for it. So, what is commercial general liability? Basically, this is a very simple policy. It's usually not cost prohibitive, even if you're brand new. Some people get it before they even have their customers. The basis of this policy helps you do two things. It helps you posture yourself in the marketplace so you can say, hey, we do have insurance, and your customers like that. And sometimes some customers require it, especially if you're going on to commercial job sites. Now, the biggest part about it is it helps protect against bodily injury and property damage if somebody claims that you cause one of those two items to their business, their property, or their person. In the event that somebody claims that that happens, and maybe you say, well, actually, I wasn't the person that did that, it was like that when I got there, it can help you pay for some court costs, attorney's fees. If you do happen to be at fault and you broke somebody's chimney or their downspout or something, there can be a claim scenario where you don't have to write a check and take it off the company bank account from the general ledger, which is nice to have. So, is this required? Usually not in all states, but it is usually a very, very important, simple business decision to make to go ahead and carry this. So, let's have a couple of hypothetical examples. Say you're putting a ladder up on somebody's property to do some work, whether it's Christmas lighting or some other type of ancillary service that your company provides. Say that it breaks the downspout, the awning, maybe part of the roof falls off. Hopefully whoever was on that ladder is okay. We'll talk about that with workers' comp here in a second. However, if the homeowner or the apartment complex or the commercial business says, hey, you damaged my property, maybe you did. Well, if you did, then the commercial general liability policy will respond in most cases to that scenario, so you don't have to write a check for that damage. Now, if you cause bodily injury to somebody, say you had a ladder and it fell on an employee of the apartment complex that you're doing work on, well, that would be a situation where you definitely don't want to pay for ambulance ride or any type of ongoing procedures, medical attention, prescription drugs, things like that. So bodily injury and property damage are both covered under this policy, which is nice. And most times there's no deductible on this policy. Also, like I said, it's not super expensive. If you're just getting started, don't be scared of it. Don't be afraid of it. Some of you might already have it. If you do already have it, there are some pitfalls and some downsides to it that I would invite you to reach out to us to discuss what might not be perfect about it, because the policies are usually about this thick, written by attorneys. There's good things in there, but there's also some things to look out for. And that's what we specialize in, is helping make sure that they're perfect for your type of business. And it's not written for like a shoe store or some type of company that may have a complete different type of risk than that. So, item number 1, commercial general liability, AKA GL. Let's talk about workers' comp. So you have employees, you have contractors, you yourself, maybe you have a spouse or a son or daughter that works in the business with you. Again, you don't have to have this coverage in all states. Some states do require it, but it is very important to have. And what it does is it helps if somebody's injured on the job, if they fall off that ladder. Hopefully not, but things are bound to happen at some point. So if somebody falls off the ladder, or they're getting off the truck and they twist their ankle, they trip on a curb and break their collarbone. We've heard all these things. We've seen all these things. Obviously, we hope they don't happen, but if you're in business long enough, things like this are bound to happen. And again, your customer wants and maybe expects that you carry this type of coverage. So not only from a protection perspective, but from a sales perspective, it'll help you differentiate yourself from the competition, or at least stack up so you're even with them, okay? So if Johnny's climbing the ladder, Johnny falls off the ladder, twists his ankle, has to go to the hospital, has to get some work done on it, needs a prescription for Advil or whatever, and then maybe misses a couple days of work, well, there's two things there. First thing is the medical bills. You don't want to pay for the medical bills, so we can file an insurance claim to get the insurance carrier to pay for the medical bills. That's good. The second thing that's good is loss of wages. Say Johnny in this example loses 2 days worth of work or 2 weeks worth of work, God forbid. Well, you don't want to have to write him a check for when he was at home on recovery. But in this case, the workers' comp carrier would take on that liability, and they would pay for not only the medical bills, but also the loss of wages. That's pretty nice to have. So this is usually based on your payroll, how much it costs. So if you have 100 employees, it's going to track with that volume of payroll. If it's just you and a small crew, also important to have. But my point here in saying is that it's not that expensive, certainly not cost prohibitive. Also, if you have contractors, it's important to either insure your contractors or require that they have the proper insurance. And if I was you, I'd require them to have GL and workers' comp. If it gets a little bit more complicated for you than that, and you're curious about how it works, if you do run contractors, reach out to us. We'll look at your specific company, your specific state, and your specific scenario, and we can give you a customized, no-cost consultation. Since we are working with Scott and Ashley so closely, we want to help you, your team, and your company as well. Also, don't forget your customers. They, a lot of times, as you grow, the need for insurance is also going to grow, and those are your first two basic policies, general liability and workers' comp. Now, how do you get to the job site, and what are you taking to the job site? Do you drive your truck? Do you drive a car? Maybe a van. Sometimes you might need to rent one. So how does that work? Say you have your homeowner's insurance and your personal car insurance with State Farm, okay? Well, State Farm might not want you performing commercial work when they think you're just driving to the grocery store and maybe to run errands. So if you have a claim and you don't disclose that you have 40% of your time in that vehicle or more is doing during the course of commercial labor, you could result in an unpaid claim or a partially paid claim if you don't disclose that up front. I would recommend that you do contact your current insurance provider. Make sure that they understand that you are doing commercial work. They understand what you're doing, how often you're doing it, the radius you're doing it in. If you cross state lines or go beyond 50 miles or so, there might be restrictions in that basic policy that you may have with your spouse. You want to convert that to a commercial auto insurance policy. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but it can help you avoid a potentially unpaid claim, which can be very expensive. So, commercial general liability, workers' compensation, commercial auto. If you're sitting there thinking, man, all this sounds really expensive, or it's very confusing, or I'm just trying to do what I'm doing and I need somebody to help me, that's a time where you can reach out to either your current provider, or if you don't have one that you have a good relationship with, you can reach out to us and we will give you some advice at no cost to try to help you and your company grow and be protected. So we want to help you, your company, and your customers, and you need to help yourself, the company, and the customers by being protected. My business partner is an insurance attorney. He says put a fortress around your business with big brick walls to protect you against the unknown, the unexpected. If you're in business long enough, something's gonna happen, okay? So when it does, it's better to be protected, have the right coverage, make sure that you have a broker or an agent or somebody that's helping you that you know, like, and trust that will assist you. So when it comes to the fourth type of coverage, which is a little bit on the commercial auto side, but a little bit different, is what you're taking to the job site. So How many of you take stuff to the job site with you? Right? You've got equipment, you've got tools, maybe you're carrying it on a trailer, maybe you have all kinds of things. If you go to lunch and you go to Subway and you park that vehicle in Subway's parking lot and you get your tools stolen, more than likely your tools and equipment are not covered on commercial auto. More than likely, if you have any of that stolen, whether it's the trailer, the tools, one or the other or both, just because your F-150 is insured doesn't mean that all that other stuff is insured. The way the insurance company sees it is that your truck is insured, but the contents of the vehicle are separate. So we want to look at a different type of policy. It could be called a floater or an inland marine policy. You don't have to remember all this, but you can take some notes on it. Also, get with Ashley. She knows this very well. Get with us. We can help you. If you're carrying tools and you go to the job site, if something gets stolen, you probably don't have coverage on the commercial auto. But it is a policy that's available. Again, not super expensive, but very important to protect your investment in your business and your expensive tools. The last thing I'll leave you with before we go to safety is the limits of the liability on your commercial auto. Are you carrying state minimum requirements, or do you have a big liability limit? Do you even know what a liability limit is? Do you have full coverage? Well, if you don't know, I would take some time, look at it, have your insurance broker, agent, or service provider help you understand that, because all the policies are different, especially if you change company to company, adding drivers, adding vehicles, deleting a driver, what's a qualified driver, how many moving violations can they have and still be somebody that I can hire and be acceptable to be covered on that policy. All these things are questions. We deal with them routinely, and we can help you, give you the playbook, and help you have the assistance that you need if you need some help. Moving on to safety. There's a couple of things that we'll touch on today, but there's a huge library of material that we have that we can provide for you also one-on-one conversations. When you're talking to your staff about safety, we would highly encourage to follow the OSHA requirements, any advice that Ashley and her team provides to you as well. But you want to remind your folks to not only drive, but also perform their duties as a true professional. So sometimes speed can get the best of us, and we want to just ask our staff to just slow down, do perfect work if and when possible, and don't cut corners. I would write that down. Don't cut the corner. That's when accidents can happen. If Jimmy and Jennifer are on site, Jennifer's having a lunch break in the truck, Jimmy's on the ladder, Jennifer should really be there holding that ladder. So that's one example. I'm sure we can all relate to that. If Johnny's if he's late to the job site, how are his behavioral skills behind the wheel? Is he being coached by you is really the thing. So if you say, hey, Johnny, get to that job site and don't be late and don't make the customer upset and don't do this, don't do that, and you put a lot of negative pressure on that individual, they will respond in a way that they may not be the most professional driver, and they may break the speed limit, they may turn without using their turn signal, all these things that are kind of basic, simple things that are easy to forget and easy corners to cut if in a pressured situation, especially if you're in a metropolitan area with a lot of traffic. So I would encourage you as the business owner, you as the leader, to remind your folks to not always be in such a hurry, but always to take their job professionally. When they put on that shirt, when they put on that hat, when they get behind the wheel, when they're on site with the ladder, what they're doing, helping their partner on site and being OSHA compliant. If you need some OSHA compliance help, we can assist with that also. But just you as the leader, it's all going to roll uphill, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent to you. So taking that responsibility of at least making it available for them to hear on a regular basis. Furthermore, when doing lifts or when working with conduit or hotlines, hot wires, is the electricity to the house or to the apartment complex shut off properly? Did we check that box? Do you have a pre-inspection checklist or a pre-job checklist that you work with that makes sure, okay, we did A, B, C, D, and F, now we're ready to go. Instead of just, dang, we're 15 minutes late, let's hurry up and get up on that roof and get to work. Don't skip the pre-inspection checklist. If you need one, I'm sure Ashley's got one, or you could draft one on your own. If not, again, something we can help you with. The big major thing, if you don't remember anything else, or if I spoke too quickly, address the insurance that you do have. And if you don't have it, go exploring for it and try to find it. That's the first thing, the insurance. The second thing, which arguably should be the first thing, is the safety component. Talking to your people, talking to yourself, routinely getting into the habits of being slow and perfect and not cutting the corner, because that's when accidents can happen. That's when things can go wrong. And frankly, at the end of the day, your customers are important, but the safety of your employees is more important. So making sure everybody goes home safely and soundly and they come back for a paycheck the next day and your customer's happy and satisfied, those are all things to keep top of mind. It may be routine. You may be sitting there saying, man, Billy, you didn't teach me anything new. Well, that's okay, but take it back to your staff, take it back to the job site, take it back to your managers in the office and talk about it, because sometimes the best thing to do is just to be consciously thinking about it on a regular basis. And I invite you again to structure things like safety meetings, text message reminders, email forums, friendly phone calls at the end of the day, the beginning of the shift, whatever you can do to be creative and stay in touch with your staff. If you're the only person, have those creative conversations with yourself and go through the mental checklist. So all things risk management, all things insurance, we can help you with when it comes to your commercial operation. If you have questions, you can email me, call me, or text me for one-on-one time. We invite you to do that. You're not burdening us. Ashley's a great friend, great client, and she certainly takes her business seriously, and Scott and the rest of her team do as well. We want to help. We want to assist. We sit in downtown Houston. We work in all 50 states. If you're across state lines, we can still help you. And if you're small, if you're big, if you're growing and you want a strategy and a playbook to figure out, when do I buy this? When do I buy that? When do I need this coverage? When do I have this exposure? What's a certificate of insurance? Any questions like that, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Again, my name is Billy Bray. Our company's Outsourced Risk Managers. I wish you the best of luck in business, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.